I've got a key concept up here on the board. The key concept that we're looking at here is reliability. Now, in the study of history, Olivia, we have to look at a number of sources of information to tell us what happened. We have to do that from a practical point of view, because we weren't there at the Battle of Bosworth. We weren't there during Henry VIII's reign. So as a result, we have to rely on what people said about him. Think about yourself for a moment here. What kind of people, or what types of people, would be likely to write about you in a positive manner? Try and do some reflection here. Who would write about you in a positive manner, do you think?
My family and my friends.
Yeah, your family and your friends. Now, even if you did something terrible, and when I say terrible, something like you, I don't know, refused to go for dinner one night. How would your parents report that? I don't think they would be saying it was the most terrible crime of the century when Shun refused to come for dinner. They might say Shun decided, for whatever reason, he didn't want to come to dinner. But in contrast here, if I was a mortal enemy of Shun, I really didn't like him, how might I report on that same event? If I was motivated to really write negatively about him, what might I say to people that were reading this account? Harry?
He was very revolting, and he was very bad.
Shun was revolting and bad when he refused to go for dinner, committing a heinous crime and letting people around the world down. I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make here, guys, about reliability in historical sources is we have to know how the person was motivated and why they were motivated to write about the subject in a particular fashion. Now, if our Arcani says that we might be looking today at sympathy and dislike for King Henry VIII, that suggests we might find that some people have said some things that make you dislike him, and other people, in contrast, may say some things that make you feel sympathy for him. So, the question here about reliability is, how do we know who or what we should be believing? Now, a lot of it comes down to motivation. Why did somebody write about history in the way they did? For example, how would a friend write about King Henry VIII? If you were best friends with Henry, Daniel, how would you write about him?
About him, would he mean well with lots of sympathy?
Yeah, with lots of sympathy, pretty well, indeed, because you're his friend. And then, years and years later, if someone read it, they would understand that somebody felt sympathy or liked Henry VIII. They may not know he was their friend. They just know that somebody felt sympathy for him. If you were an enemy of Henry VIII, how might you write about him? Hannah?
I might say he's horrible.
Yeah, you might say it's horrible. You might say lots of negative things about him. Now, thinking back to our facts and opinion, we can't dispute things that Henry VIII did that are facts, like he ruled between 1509 and 1547. That's a fact. But the way he behaved is probably largely grounded in opinion. With that said, for us to decide if we feel sympathy or if we feel dislike for him, we're going to have to look at the perspectives of friends and of enemies, and even some people who didn't know him at all, who were relying on the information of friends or enemies, or perhaps anyone that may have been motivated to write about him in a positive or a negative manner. So